I'm sitting there in the hotel, man. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be eating, right? So I look at this DoorDash thing and I'm like, what's a meltdown, man? What's this meltdown barbecue? So if anybody knows what the hell the meltdown barbecue is, it's a sandwich place in Houston. And I'm staring at this thing, man. The DoorDash person just came by and I'm staring at this thing. Had a couple of the onion rings, are really good. And it's this brisket burnt tips sandwich, man. So
Apparently settled up and now a restaurant review.
it's a Houston food review. In a Houston hotel waiting for your your flight tomorrow morning. Let me see, man. Let me
See, first bite.
1 2 1 2. All right, let's roll.
Welcome,
You're listening to the Saddle Up Podcast,
where we discuss everything related to UTRGV athletics, past or present. We'll catch up with old teammates, friends, and take you down memory lane.
with exclusive interviews.
This is the Saddle Up Podcast.
The voice of your covered walkway streets.
So dope.
This is gonna be awesome.
Stay tuned for new episodes every week.
From Bronx Village to the Fieldhouse,
We'll cover it all.
Hell yeah, dude. Carpe diem.
so saddle up and let's go.
Let's go. Saddle up, partner.
That's amazing, man. I don't know if I'm really hungry or this sandwich is the best sandwich I've ever had in my life.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Actually, it's our last episode of season 3 for Saddle Up Podcast. G and I are obviously in different locations. I'm in Vegas. G, where you at, my friend?
I'm in Houston, Texas, baby. H-Town.
So we're doing this.
H-Town. Heat.
Yeah, we're doing this episode, this last episode of season 3, kind of as a recap, but we just kind of wanted to, share the stories and just kind of talk about season 3. We've got season 4 coming up. We've got great guests lined up for you guys, and I'm super excited. But G, what were your thoughts on season 3?
Well, it's a journey, man, and I love taking this journey with you. And I know that people that listen to the shows, they always kind of question me and they say, "Hey, are you and Matt okay? You all really roast each other a lot." I said, "Yeah, absolutely, man. And he's one of my best friends. I think I'm one of his best friends, and we've known each other for a long time, obviously. And I think the roasting just comes from a place of love, and it's absolutely love, family, brotherhood. And so all those people, man, out there that are worried about this relationship and about how we roast each other on the show, there's more to come on season 4, man.
Season 4, yeah. Well, I would like to point out this 3 seasons of Saddle Up. No one would have ever thought that we got this far, right? It's actually another season without a Mike Mancias episode. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah, we're gonna put that out there, and that's okay. Because he's doing some great things, man. He's doing some great things, and obviously right now all we can do is talk about him and not with him on the show. But love you, Mike, man. Love you like a brother. But you are my brother. And nothing but love. It's a tight circle that we have, and that's why we love roasting Mike, because Mike is roastable. Especially when
he is. And you know what? We wish him all the best in Paris, and he's going to the Olympics. So we're definitely not going to get him for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and one of our goals, I think, for Mike to come onto the show, obviously, we would love to do some kind of Tom Brady roast, for Mike Mancias. So, I know that he would love to get roasted by all of his close friends. And I think we're gonna try to, as a Saddle Up as a saddle up posse here, we're going to try to make that happen at some
Oh,
point.
he's definitely going to be in one of these seasons in the next 20 years, right? And so,
Absolutely.
um,
Hopefully, some of y'all stick
but
with us.
let's talk about the guests that we did have, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
obviously minus Mike Mancias, who didn't appear in season 1, 2, or 3. But
Yeah, there's
I
been
mean,
plenty of shows for him to appear in, but he hasn't yet. But
not
that
yet.
we see, yeah,
El
we've moved on.
Presidente, Ivano
Yeah.
Starcevic.
So the next best thing to Mike Mancias, the next best thing to Mike Mancias is Ivana Starcevic, the El Presidente. If you've watched his episode, you'll know why we call him El Presidente. He was beloved Croatian center that played with us at UT Pan American. Big old teddy bear, one of Matt's closest friends, and I think one of his mentors back then, because I think he really took you under his wing
He
as
did.
being
And then he
seasoned.
swung on me at shoot around. Yeah, exactly.
I was there, and I remember when he swung at you, and I was praying to goodness that he did not connect 100%. Because if he would have connected 100%, I don't know if you'd be here today.
I wouldn't have, but we ended up beating Western Kentucky at home that night. And so
right.
that,
right.
so, but that's a great episode to talk about. Jordan Jackson, I mean, the son of Cheryl Swoops, who was like just listed as one of the top 100 influential athletes in history. Cheryl Swoops.
The history of the game. Yeah.
Jordan Jackson, her son played at UTRGV under Coach Lou. And
Yep.
and he just won, Jordan did, won the G League dunk contest. And
the guy's phenomenal athlete. The guy is unbelievable, and he's an unbelievable person. And you know, yeah, and so humble. And I think what the great highlights of talking to Jordan is that you see how like driven he is. And and talking to a young kid, like Jordan, with his background, with who his mom is. I mean, obviously there's people like Bronny James, that have those, those standards to live up to. And I think Jordan kind of takes it
in stride. Yeah.
He's taking it in stride.
Yep.
It's not letting him stress him out. He's doing everything he can to get where he wants to get to. And you know what? I believe it, man. I think we believe that he's going to get to where he's going to get to and where he belongs. And he keeps working hard. And I think people are going to find out who he is.
Well, speaking of working hard, I think another episode that we had was Shelly Castillo, who's now, she married Coach Patterson. But Shelly Castillo, I think her story about, taking boxing classes and then giving tours of Brownsville, like on a bicycle, amazing. Like this is somebody that just dedicates herself to serving people and to just having a good time and living life. I mean, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed Shelly's episode.
I did, and it's close to my heart because I was a teacher for a long time, and a coach, and Shelly is a teacher, and I think her inspiration in life is to, I think one of her mottos is to inspire as much as she can, right, before she expires. She aspires to inspire before she expires, and put that down in your big cheap notebook, Matt. But that's her.
I love that. She's gonna text us later. Like, what are you talking about? G expire? Like, what do you?
No. You know what I mean? But what I mean is Shelly fulfills, and tries to get everything out of life that she possibly
every
can.
ounce out of life. Exactly. 1,000% agree.
Every minute of the day. What is it that she can do to help somebody? What is it that she can do to teach somebody? What is it that she can do, to get better herself so that she can be better for others? It's an amazing episode, man. If you haven't done it, please check it out. She was a cross-country runner for UTPA.
In the Hall of Fame?
The Hall of Fame. She got She's now in the Hall of Fame for UTPA. So, man, amazing person. And her husband, our assistant coach when we were playing.
Yeah. Shout out
So
to Jason Patterson. He was a great episode too, you know.
he has a great episode. Now, obviously, we don't have that much greatness to talk about as much as his wife, but I'm kidding,
Except
Coach.
for his love for you too. Like he's gone to so many YouTube
Absolutely.
concerts. Like
100%.
shout out to Coach, you know.
He's the rock. He's the rock.
If you're ever in Prosper, Texas, look
Yeah.
up Shelly and Coach Patterson, right? Now let's talk about, you know, when I came down there a couple of months ago, we did a couple of live episodes, not live episodes, but in-person episodes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we had the I guess we got to interview Coach Matlock from the baseball team, the head coach from but shout out to Coach Matlock, amazing interview. But Coach Bush, I'd like to remind you, cut you on the actual episode.
Yeah.
Just remind them of the question that you asked Coach Bush.
Yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
know it's a sore spot for you. But
no, it's a sore spot, but it's something that I recall, that I remember, that I think about almost every night. I don't even have to write it down. I don't have to put it on my phone. I mean, I know exactly what I asked. I know exactly how he responded.
I know too.
You know, and again, you know, before I even say this story, Coach, shout out to Coach Matlock. I know we did a little carousel there of on-site, interviews with all of the coaches and whatnot. And I know that we're going to talk about a few more, but of those on-site performances. But just to reiterate what I had asked Coach Bush. And if you watch the episode, you know exactly, you know, I think it's one of my highlights and one of my lowlights of my life, right? Having Coach Bush actually think about me at all was a highlight, but what he actually said was just one of the lowlights. I told him, you know, I played a little bit of quarterback in high school. Okay, we that's how we set up that whole conversation. And I said, hey, if you have a tryout, remember we were talking about tryouts.
Yeah.
Talking about, hey man, I would love to come out here, Uncle Jico, Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. But I said, you know, Coach, I got a great question for you, man, and it's brewing in my head, and I need to ask it. You know, you're out there in the game, man, and you're, you know, I'm in the, you know, I'm out, I'm QBing, you know, and you're QB. I'm the second string quarterback. And your first string quarterback gets hurt, right? Right?
No, that's not how I remember it at all. Because
that makes me feel a lot better if I phrase it that way. But you know, for those that didn't watch it, I'm kidding. All right.
So continue with your story, and then I'm gonna put in the real.
Okay.
Insert now.
It hurts. It hurts. I'm your quarterback, Coach. I'm your quarterback. What would you tell me to motivate me, all right, going into a big game, what would you say? What kind of speech, what kind of words of wisdom would you tell me, would you say to me to get me ready to play the game, to win, that'll help you win? What do you say, man?
That sounds more familiar. This is the question that this is what I heard.
What do you say, Matt?
He said, is his backup warmed up?
It's your backup warmed up, man.
It's the backup warmed up. Like that was it. Like literally got cut on the episode. Like
on the air live.
On the air. Like he got cut right there.
I was hypothetically his starting quarterback, and he looked right. He said, is the backup warmed up? Get this guy out of here. We want to win this game.
Shout out to the business of college football.
Whole business. That's how you know what? That's how I'm going to view it. It was a business move, and nothing personal. Coach Bush.
Nothing personal.
Still love you, man. Still pulling for you.
He's still a fan of the show. Like he texts us all the time. Like,
thank goodness.
You know, he's definitely a fan of the show, but it's definitely nothing personal. The one person that really, really, like, I was just in awe with, because he's always been like a mythological, the Yeti, you know, so to speak, that had been talked about in history of Bronx basketball, but no one ever seemed to have met him.
Yeah.
Chewy Guerra.
Yeah.
Like
That,
we
that was,
found
we
the
found Chewy.
Eddie. Yes, we found Chewy.
And it's crazy because we've always talked about him. We've always known who he is. We've heard the legendary stories from Lupe, our bus driver,
Yep.
and the famous coach Abe Lemons that coached Chuy Guerra at UTPA. There were always some really cool stories that I think that everybody that came in to play there got to hear from Lupe, the bus driver, and he would always talk about Chewy, how great of a guy he was from Roma, Texas. The funniest thing, the greatest thing that happened was the way that we found him. And it was just during my work day, you know, I ran into some people that knew Chewy,
Yep.
ran into his niece. And when I found that out in Roma, and when I found that out, I immediately texted Matt and I said, Matt, we found him.
Yep.
We
And I
found
knew exactly who he was talking about.
I mean, obviously, one of the most influential, one of the most, I mean, just stat. I mean, if there was a 3-point line, right? It is one of those guys, that everybody knows and every Valley kid wanted to be like.
Yep.
I mean,
He
and you,
influenced guys like Gabe Valdez, who's been
Yeah.
in season 1 or season 2, whatever it is. He's past episode. Influenced
Yeah.
Brian Molina, Lalo
Lalo-
Rios, Eric
Yeah.
Montalvo,
yes,
you
yes.
know, Bianca.
Bianca, that's right. She spoke of Chewy. She knew
Yeah.
of Chewy. And we can't say enough about Chewy, man. Chewy would love you. I mean, his episode is like one of the best. I think one of the best experiences that I've ever had, and Matt and I could not stop talking about that episode, like for weeks after it that we interviewed him. It was amazing,
It
and I
was
think another guy that's at that level, Matt, as far as like just wisdom and intellectual conversation, just feeling like like he's hovering above people,
Yeah.
it's Guerra, and of course our very own president, UTRGV president,
Yep.
Dr. Bailey. Dr. Bailey and Chewy are so similar. They're so different, but so similar at the same time.
Because their passion for the university, like it's hands down, you can see how much Chewy obviously loves the university, right? Blood, sweat, and tears, And then you got Dr. Bailey, who's not a Valley native, but now is a Valley native, so to speak. And what he's provided, like what he's done for the university, his story, like it's amazing.
Amazing individuals, Matt. Man, we've been blessed. We've been blessed to have amazing people, talented people, people that still do so much for the community, people that like family people that are humble, and continue to better themselves in order to give back to the people that service, and it's
my favorite story about Dr. Bailey before we wrap up. My favorite story was I don't think it was mentioned on air, but we'll share it here.
Yeah.
And if it was great, but if it wasn't, then we'll share it. My favorite story is when Dr. Bailey walks into the room and we're sitting there kind of warming up, and he's like, I love what you guys are doing. But I talked to my wife, and I asked her the question, how do you dress for a podcast?
Yeah.
So
it was the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Yes. And it was so genuine. Like he wanted to obviously present himself in the best light, which he obviously did, but just him being mindful of like, we only have we're over 6,000 subscribers, but
thank you all for that love.
Yeah,
bro.
thank you very much. But I think that he was just so humble in the fact that he that was his first podcast. The Saddle Up podcast was his very first podcast that he'd ever been on. And
Wow.
he was Nick Saban's boss for a while, and then this is
Yeah,
his
like he
podcast.
worked with some very, very important top people.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. He helped bring the Big 12,
yeah,
not the Longhorn Network. He helped kind of bring
Yeah.
that into ESPN and kind of do that, So for him to be willing and able and just so giving of his time for a little regional podcast that we are, it was just amazing. So shout out to Dr. Bailey. We love you, and we'll text you later because he's on the text chain.
and we're gonna have to kind of give him the heads up that he looked great that day, and there's nothing that we're saying here. He looked awesome. He was ready to go for the podcast, and we're just grateful that he
we're grateful for his wife. Shout out to Val.
Shout out to Val.
You're amazing. You did a great job. So Dr. Bailey looked great. It's the response has been overwhelming. G's get stopped at HEB. Like, can I get on the podcast?
Yeah, just trying to get a head of lettuce. I'm just trying to buy a head of lettuce, man, for my turkey sandwiches, and I'm getting stopped saying, "Hey, aren't you that Saddle Up guy?" I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" I'm just kidding. It doesn't even happen. But thank you, Matt, for that. Doesn't happen at all.
Oh my gosh!
One time,
so what do we have? What do we have coming up for season 4? I know we're going to start in August. So we're taking a little break, but we've got some big plans for season 4.
Whatever happens, whoever agrees to come on, if you want to reach out to us to be on the show, I mean, it's awesome hearing from everybody. It's awesome. Whoever's on the show, we always try to make you feel like we're at home, that we've known each other forever. I mean, it's crazy. There's people that we haven't talked to in 30 years that like we never skipped a beat. It's
Lindsey Krause is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's just, just the way that we bring it together, man. And I think society now, I think there's a thirst for that connection. And that's why we started this. It's about connection. Like, I mean, if we stop connecting, man, we're dead.
Yep.
We got to continue connecting with each other. We got to continue connecting with those that made, wonderful impacts in our life when we were younger. We got to, keep on connecting to learn more about those that we don't know.
Yeah. So many stories left to be told. Yep. Agreed.
So, man, there's stories to be told. I'm so glad that Matt and I started Saddle Up, man. No other co-host that I would rather take this ride with is the number one.
I can't say the same, but you know what it is.
That's why I'm talking. That's why I'm doing most of the compliments here, because I know that you have nothing good to say. But man, it's been enjoyable. We're gonna do this for as long as we can. For as long
as they kick us off.
Can't get canceled.
Well, G, I appreciate you. This has been a fun ride. Like I said, we've been in it 3 seasons. The fact that it started from, like COVID happy hours, when we would just do this for fun and we would just kind of hang out, and then it expanded from how do we tell more stories? How do we get more people? How do we get more athletes on? I'm really excited to be on this journey with you, G. And, there's a couple of co-hosts that I'd rather have, but you're the best that I have right now. So I appreciate it.
I'm the only one that'll pick up the phone, buddy. And before we go, I want to just thank Bobby Signs and Anna Signs, and the owners of Wing Barn.
Yes.
There really hasn't been someone on the outside, other than Cinnaholic, that made a Cinnaholic there in Edinburgh, that made a Saddle Up roll for us.
Yep. Shout out to Shane.
Shout out to Shane, and maybe we can, maybe once a year they can do a Saddle Up roll, because that was really good, by the way. I stopped by.
Really good. It was really good.
Amazing, and all their rolls are really amazing. But Wing Barn has really supported us with, taking care of our Valley, Valley people that come on. They're valley based, you know. Thank you, Wing Barn. Thank you for all you do, man. And it's awesome because we've partnered up with a restaurant that a bar grill that does a lot for the community. Like
Great.
those are the people that we want to be around. Those are the people that deserve business. And just thank you, Wing Barn and Bobby and Anna for being supporters of Saddle Up and believing in us.
Yep.
But man, thank you everybody though. Thank you everybody, and we're really excited to come forward with season 4.
Season 4 coming up in August. Take care, guys. V's up.
V's up.
Where the balloons, G? Where the balloons?
Like, we weren't supposed to come up with something this clean. You know, like, something happened